Well, good morning and welcome to 755 Live, about 5 minutes of what Jesus said. And you can find a different command of Jesus at our weekday Bible plan at bible.today.church. I realized yesterday that it has been a year that we've been doing these 5-minute videos. So it really helps and is encouraging and would mean a lot to me. If you like this, if you share it on social media, if you comment, let me know you're watching. It just really makes a big difference because what we want to do is just learn how to be better disciples and learn to go make disciples by teaching them to obey all the things that Jesus commanded. And so we put the commands of Jesus into soundbite versions just so they're easier to remember and also apply. It's just what we're supposed to do as a disciple of Jesus, obey what he said. Today's 755 Live, Jesus said, the soundbite version of a command is, remember me together. Good morning, Susie. Thank you for checking in. This comes from Luke 22, 19 through 20, and then also Matthew 26, verse 26 through 27. We're going to read the Luke passage today. And this is the night before Good Friday, preparation day, and this is the disciples all gathered together before Jesus was crucified. And it says in Luke 22:19, then he took bread, and after giving thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. And in the same way, he took the cup after they had eaten, saying that this cup that is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood. Do this in remembrance of me. Jesus said, remember me together. Now we call this communion, this ritual, this pattern of breaking the bread, sharing in the cup among Jesus followers. We call it a sacrament, communion. And the definition of that is an act or instance of sharing. And that's sometimes a point that we miss in the ritual of taking communion, the ritual of what we call the Lord's Supper. In fact, in some traditions, and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but the ritual is performed with very fancy things, shiny gold cups and incense, custom-made wafers. Sometimes only certain individuals can even touch those. In some traditions, it's all about convenience. We have a whole industry now that makes these little plastic containers with a little bit of juice and around something that tastes a lot like styrofoam. But maybe we have missed the point of what we are to really remember. This night, when Jesus gave this example, it wasn't very shiny. It wasn't very formal or organized. In fact, it was a bunch of homeless guys who traveled from place to place, and there was no one there even willing to wash feet, which was a standard cultural thing at that time. No one was willing to serve. And so Jesus did. Sometimes we forget, Jesus didn't just break the bread. He served them. He gave it to them. The King of all creation as a servant. Jesus said, remember me together. It's the sharing, it's the servanthood that Jesus was modeling. And Paul talks about this in 1 Corinthians 11 as he's giving instructions to the church in Corinth about how they should have this meal together. He said in verse 20 and 21 of 1 Corinthians 11, now when you come together at the same place, you're not really eating the Lord's Supper. He said, you're not doing this right. For when it is time to eat, everyone proceeds with his own supper. One is hungry and another becomes drunk. And then Paul reminds them of the actual night that we just read about. And he says, this is what it's really about. And then he drives the point home in verse 33. He says, so then, my brothers and sisters, when you come together to eat, wait for one another. It's not all about me. It's not all about me getting my portion. Communion isn't about being served. It's about serving, about sharing, about waiting on one another. Because we remember Jesus said in Matthew 20:28, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. So let's remember Jesus, whatever we do, not just in a ritual, not just when we break bread together and share the cup together as he commanded, but in everything by serving. Jesus said, remember me together. How can we put that into action today?